Hey, how you doing? It's Johnny Miller from Point Blank Online Music School, and I'm here today to give a little tutorial for you in Ableton Live, focusing on a sidechain compression technique for DJ mixes. Normally sidechain compression we use in production to get a nice balance between our drums and our basses. But I'm going to show you how you can use it in a DJ set, in a sequence DJ set in Ableton Live's Arrange View, to get a smooth transition from one track to another. I hope you find it useful. You can check out loads of cool free content from Point Blank on their website, pointblankonline.net, and also on the Point Blank blog. So enjoy the tutorial today. Look after yourselves. Peace. So here we are in Arrange View. At this point in the proceedings, I want to go from this Miami horror track called Sometimes, just like an indie dance thing. I want to go into a track, kind of electronic track by John Talabot called Changed. So at the moment I've just lined them up end to end, and if I play the end of the Sometimes track, we've got these nice vocals and keys, and then right at the end we've got this kind of long kind of held keyboard note. Now I'm going to use that in the mix, in the transition. The John Talabot thing just starts just with drum beats and little keys, and I like the way this thing starts. I want to use that as well. I don't just want to fade it up, I want those beats to just kind of drop in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to use a simple duplication to extend this end section. So we've got that long held note, and I'm going to extend that right out into the John Talabot track. And then I'm going to use sidechain compression to give a nice ducking feel on that long extended keys part, just to make that transition a bit more interesting, instead of just stopping one and starting the next one, or doing a kind of standard mix where they overlap for long periods of time. Just going to get a bit more creative with this. So first things first, I need to identify a section of the end of Sometimes that I can use, essentially loop. So this section here, that's fine. That's got a clap in it as well, that's laying down on beat 2 and beat 4 of the bar. I'm just going to highlight that and separate it using Command E. So now I've got this extra clip that I can literally just now hit Command D and duplicate. So I'm just hitting Command D on my keyboard there. Let's just open this out a little bit, and I'm just going to put in loads of those actually. There we go. So if I just solo track 4, let's just listen to that. So we've got this nice long held keys part. Now I'm going to move the John Talabot track back a little bit, just so we get to there. And by the time the vocal finishes, let's just listen to this actually. I need to make sure I put the beginning of this clip in the right place. Yeah, just here. That's perfect. Right, let's take the solo off and just hear that. So just when this repeating keys part starts to play, that's when the beats from the John Talabot track kick in. Right, next thing is the key. I'm going to knock the John Talabot track into key, so musically it works with the end of the Sometimes track. And to do this, I'm just going to bring the volume down a bit on the Sometimes track and just play that section again, just so you can hear this. Now on the John Talabot track, I'm going to go to transpose. Very simple, just bring it down a couple of semitones. Now it's in key. And as you can hear, that just works really nicely now with that long extended key section on Sometimes. Now for the sidechain compression. I'm going to add a compressor. Let's go to Audio Effects and just drag a compressor onto track 4. There we go. open up the sidechain, and I'm going to sidechain the audio from track 5, which is the John Talabot thing. So, okay, audio from track 5. I'm also going to use the EQ. I'm going to switch the EQ on, go to the low shelf, and just go down here to sort of around 100 Hertz. And now you can see the kick drum signal coming into the compressor. All I need to do now is just bring the threshold down. We get that lovely ducking effect. This is kind of standard stuff, but most people use this in production to get that lovely ducking effect on a pad or on a strings or keys or something. I'm using it in a DJ mix, which I think sounds really cool, and it's quite easy to set up. Good tip for sidechaining: feed forward 1, the model. It just works a little bit better with sidechaining. You sometimes get clicking and sort of extra noises when you use some of the other models, but feed forward 1 seems to work really nicely for sidechaining to kicks. Right, the last thing I'm going to do is just work the automation, and of course I don't want that sidechain. I don't want this compression set up for the rest of the the whole track. So I'm just going to bring the threshold right up. In fact, I've just moved the model, haven't I? Let's go to just move the threshold pot. There we go, the fader rather. And now you see that the threshold automation lane is open just because I moved the value on the device. That's just one of Ableton's little built-in functions that's really useful. I'm going to keep that threshold right up high, and then just as we get into the John Talabot beats, I'm going to program in automation so that threshold falls, drops like this. I could actually go a bit further down. And let's get that happening a little bit quicker as well. So it kind of fades in just over the first bar. We get a nice smooth transition. In fact, that's a bit too much, isn't it? Let's just open this out. How about that? So it just eases in the sidechain effect. There we go. That's nice. Right, now lastly, of course, as a DJ, I need to fade out track 4. I need to fade out the sometimes keys. So to do that, I'm just going to quickly move the output fader on the compressor. And now, of course, because I've just moved that ever so slightly on the device, the output gain lane is open in Arrange View. So I can just program in a level change like so. And essentially, I've kind of replaced the audio track fader, which I'd normally use to fade things out, fade things in, fade things out. I'd normally use the track fader, but I've replaced that now with the output gain on compressor. So just over time, as the John Talabot track kind of gets going, that sidechain action's just going to play underneath, bringing some real character into the mix transition. And now the output gain is ever so slowly going to fade down. And there's my DJ mix. So I've done 3 things there. I've extended the end of one track using just simple duplication. I've changed the key of the John Talabot track just using transposition inside the clip. And I've used automation, and in terms of workflow, quick setup, just move the fader, the automation lane pops open for you in Arrange View. I've then used automation to bring in the sidechain effect and fade the track out. And that is some extra little bits how to DJ using Ableton Live. And bring in some production ethics into your DJ mixes, which I personally think is a great thing to do. All right, there's loads of free content on pointblankonline.net and on our YouTube page as well. So check that out, and I'll be back again next month to show you some more little cool tricks with the Ableton Live 8 for Point Blank Online. Okay, peace.